Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moltrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft commentary. And I'm changing things up a little bit here. Very, very excited to be doing that. I've been digging through the DVDs that I have of old VODs to see what I could find. And I have found some Pro League finals. This is the Pro League finals. Pro League is the team league that they used to have in Brood War. And I am super, super, super excited about it. It's funny because I actually think I watched this series when it came out, but it was 13 years ago, so I don't remember what happened. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out. This is a matchup between two of the best teams in the Pro League history, Samsung Con and Lecaf Oz, both teams that ended up in the finals a lot. And so I'm super excited about that. This is also an appropriate find for me to find these VODs, given the fact that Africa has just announced their team league. So there's actually going to be a new Brood War team league coming out very soon, and that's pretty cool too. I'll put a link to some information about that in the video description if you're interested. But let's go back to the old days, the prime time of StarCraft, and see what one of the team leagues was like back in 2007, back before StarCraft 2 happened, anything along those lines. And back when the teams were organized teams that were, you know, professional teams. I've referred to this before, but you know, the team league was actually a really crucial part of the StarCraft culture back then. It was something that if you weren't in the OSL, the MSL, you didn't just have to sit around and do nothing and feel like you weren't accomplishing anything. You could still play for your team in the team league and still have matches to prepare for every week. And it was a way that a lot of newer players were able to kind of get their legs underneath them in order to participate in the more prestigious individual tournaments too. So pretty cool, and I'm excited to see what happens here. Now, this is in 2007. This is the Pro League sponsored by Shinhan Bank, which sponsored a lot of Pro Leagues. And this is a match between Jaedong and Frozen. And Jaedong is going to be, of course, the Zerg on the left side of the map here. Frozen is the red Terran in the top right. And Frozen, you might have noticed at the beginning of this match, his name, his other nickname is Cute Angel. And it's just a little harder to say. I don't mind him having the nickname Cute Angel. It's fine. It's cool, but I just don't want to say Cute Angel. See, I can't even say it a few times right now. And that right there, by the way, that is January that we just saw. The woman on the screen was the... So now this is the two coaches. She's the coach of Khan, and he's the coach of Oz. And both pretty famous personalities. January, though, I just want to point her out real quick. The best female StarCraft player. Well, I should say most accomplished female StarCraft player, because they actually used to have a female team league. I'm sorry, a female league back in the early days of StarCraft, and January was basically the top player in that league. She was one of a couple players that that always placed really highly, and along with I think Toskar was actually one of them. Toskar played in the normal leagues later on, but was never got super far. But in any case, let's get into the match. I just wanted to point out January, though, because it's super cool, and you know, we don't see enough women in esports these days, and so it was cool that she was a coach of one of the biggest and best teams back then. A good example for people. Anyway, so getting to this match, Frozen is the red Terran. We have Jaedong going for hatchery first into a pool. Pretty standard stuff from both players right now. And just a quick background here. So Frozen was a very solid player. I don't think he ever got super far in any individual tournaments, but he was definitely a solid player for the Samsung team in their team leagues. He was never like, you know, the person who you'd be favored to win against Jaedong, for example. This is in Jaedong's prime, basically in 2007, and so definitely favoring Jaedong in this match. But we'll have to see what Frozen can pull out. One of the interesting things about the team leagues is, you know, it depended a little bit less on the raw skill and talent of the player, because you only had one game to prepare for, right? You only had one game to prepare for. And so instead of, you know, if you're playing for a best of 5, you have to prepare 5 maps. Whereas in this case, Frozen has to only prepare 1 map and 1 matchup, and he knows exactly what it's going to be a week or 2 ahead of time. And, whoa, sorry, my video glitched out there for a minute. Not sure what's happening. The video quality just randomly changed there, so that's cool. But yeah, so Frozen, you ended up having what were called snipers a lot. You had people that were preparing specific builds for specific player as a sniper, right? So, you know, you knew your opponent ahead of time, and so if you knew you were playing Jaedong and you're not necessarily as good as him, you might prepare a strategy specifically to counter Jaedong's style, or specifically to cheese on that specific map or something like that. So it's an interesting aspect of the Team League that's the case. Obviously, you can see Frozen taking out some of the neutral buildings on this map. There's a pylon making the choke point into the main base a little bit easier to block off, and a little extra random building behind the natural there, which I'd have to get a closer look at it to ponder what it was there for. But in any case, this is a map that I don't remember the name of it. Again, it's probably on the screen somewhere in Korean right now, but oh no, it's not. But it is a map that has a ground. I know I've been doing some air maps recently because of the old days, but in 2007 and on, you really basically didn't see any air maps. So there is ground, and you can see actually Jaedong's Lings kind of running around on the map and covering the different spaces. So luckily, he's illustrating for us the different ground routes that there are between the different players. Evolution Chamber. Evolution Chamber? This early? That's really interesting. Oh, Zergling's gonna sneak by. He's gonna get a scout, but he's not gonna get too far. He just sees 2 barracks. That doesn't tell him too much. Doesn't tell him what tech is going on, if there's any factories or anything going on in the background there. Although he has seen only Marines. He didn't see any vultures hiding behind or anything like that. So he can kind of guess. Excuse me. But early Evolution Chamber feels like well, it feels like a little bit earlier than I would expect. But again, I haven't really been following the meta even recently, and this was 13 years ago, so who knows, maybe this was normal back then. But obviously the upgrades are very important in kind of the mid-game of this matchup. If you can have more carapace or attack, or in the Terran's case, more attack or armor, then you have a pretty significant advantage, because the units that you see most often, or I guess say the most common units, are the Zerglings and Marines, they have such small attacks, right? You know, 5 or 6 attack, that upgrading it by 1 is actually a big deal, right? It can reduce a significant percentage of the enemy's attack if you have 1 carapace over them, right? Or you can do a significant amount more if they don't have the armor upgrade to match your +1 attacks, that kind of thing. And that's why we see a lot of, you know, what are called timing attacks, where you move out on a certain timing, where you have a certain upgrades ready, and so your units get really strong for a moment. And we do see a little bit of a timing attack here from Frozen, though. Not on an upgrade timing, but on the timing of just having a clump of units, forcing Jaedong to build some sunken colonies. He's probably not even going to attack here. What just happened there? What died? Oh, it must have been a Zergling, like a Scoutling, that was just put there to observe this attack incoming. I don't think he's actually even going to go in and attack. He might. He might. Oh, another Zergling sneaks by. Wow, he's doing really well at sneaking these Scoutlings by. And it's going to be able to get in there and see everything inside Frozen's base. Building another hatchery and a spire. But I don't know if he's even going to attack here. There are 4 sunken colonies. He would probably win, but the thing is he can't be sure he's going to win, because if some Zerglings come in halfway through the battle, and a dozen Zerglings will easily polish off that army, and then he'll be on the back foot for the rest of the game. So he may just be pushing out this army in order to force Jaedong to build those. Okay, he's going to go in. He is going to go for the attack, and there are no Zerglings there, actually. Where are the Zerglings? He needs the Zerglings there as backup. The drones are forced to come in here, but the Firebat is doing so much damage to the drones at the same time. Is he just going to break Jaedong right here? What are these Marines doing? Okay, the Marines are coming down here. It looked like they were on pause, but oh my gosh, that Firebat's still alive until the Sunkens are all dead. Is Jaedong just going to lose the game right here? The first game? Jaedong the champion? Is he going to lose to Frozen the sniper at this point? 1 sunken colony, and I think he's just dead. I don't know what Jaedong could do here. He's lost his defenses. Frozen is rallying more Marines this direction, and this is a timing where he doesn't have lurkers yet. If he had some lurkers, just 1 or 2 lurkers in this case would do a significant help, but and he's just I think this is all in. He's just rallying Marines forward. He's just producing from, I think, six barracks now, and just trying to overpower Jaedong. He has 1 lurker egg morphing. If he can get that lurker in there and protect it, but Frozen has got to have Comstat. But that is a small choke point right there. So Frozen might say, you know what, I don't want to deal with any just static defenses. I don't want to deal with anything going through that small choke point. Instead, I'm going to fall back and macro off this, get a 3rd base myself. He might do that. But I don't know if he realizes how much he could just roll in there and just kill Jaedong at this exact moment. He's built up a number of Zerglings, but I don't think that would be enough. Okay, so he actually only had 4 barracks, and he was building 5 and 6. So I thought he had the extras up already, but he didn't. And now we have 1 Lurker and some Zerglings to follow it up with. And they're looking at the upgrades right now. 0-0 upgrades. Oh, here he goes in. He's trying to push back out again. Oh, the burrow, and he goes after Lurkies. Kills one Lurker. He's target firing the Lurkers. And that has got to be it. Now there's nothing that he can do. Jaedong, and it's not Jaedong's GG. Cute Angel Frozian takes game 1 for Samsung Khan. Amazing. And, you know, that's what I was talking about. You know, you have 1 game to prepare for. You can prepare a special strategy for a certain map in a certain situation. And it doesn't matter that Jaedong is just a lot better than Frozian in general and would beat him in a best of 7, you know, 98 times out of 100. Frozian takes the game, and that is all that matters in the Pro League. And so he's going to go back to the Samsung Khan bench, triumphant, smiling, doing a little dance and a ceremony and a thumbs down. Oh, snap. Thumbs down from Frozian against Jaedong. He cannot be feeling good about himself. This might not be the last we see of Jaedong, though, because the format for the Team League is you have individual matches. You actually have a 2v2 match. I believe at this stage in StarCraft history, there was still a 2v2 game that happened. It was usually the 3rd game. And then, if there's the Lecaf bench, by the way, not looking too happy about this early loss. And but yeah, there's an ace match. So if you end up tied 3-3, the 7th game is what's called the ace match, and that is basically you can't prepare for it. You know the map ahead of time, and you might have someone who's prepared for it, but each team blindly picks a player to go out as their ace and plays the game 7 against the other one, not knowing what the matchup will be ahead of time. And so anyway, his teammates comforting Jaedong. They knew that he was their strongest player and needed to take a win here. But the reason that Lecaf was able to get to this stage is because they have a solid bench as well. It's not just Jaedong and the boys. It's actually Jaedong and a lot of strong players. As we can see, you know, Frozian was a bench member, a member of the bench for Samsung Khan, and he comes out and wins the game as well. So anything can happen in the Pro League. In any case, I'm going to try and do this entire set, and I'm not even sure. Like I said, I saw this match 13 years ago, but I don't remember it, so I don't even know who's going to win. So I'm excited to see how this goes. And, yeah, so I'm going to move on into game number 2 here in just a second. I don't know if I'm going to make this a separate video, so I'll just say thanks for watching, but it may just transition into another game, depending on how I end up rendering this later on. Okay, thanks for watching. Alright, here we go with game number 2 of the Pro League Finals from the Shinhan Pro League of 2007 between Samsung Khan and Lecaf Oz, later named to Hwaseong Oz, by the way, if you've heard of that team name instead. Very excited about this game right now. This is going to be really cool. Haha! Got some 4GG fans there, I believe. So yeah, this is a match between 2 really great players, Jongbi and 4GG. And you can see on there it says Never V. That was another one of his nicknames, was Never. V was like a clan tag that he went by, because he also went by 4GGV sometimes. So, but I'm going to call him 4GG because that's kind of how I've known him. So, Jongbi is going to be the red Protoss in the bottom left. And he's going to be playing for Samsung Khan. There he is right there, sporting his blue Khan jacket. And I guess I should be up front that Khan is kind of my favorite team, one of my favorite teams. Khan and SKT are kind of my favorite StarCraft teams, so I've got a little bit of a soft spot for them, so I apologize ahead of time if I'm a little bit biased. And this is going to be 4GG. It's going to be the brown Terran in the top right. And I'm really, really anxious to see this match, because both these players ended up being some of the top players of kind of the last few years of Brood War, essentially. 4GG ended up winning an MSL, and Jongbi obviously was a very successful player, got a bunch of silvers, and I believe won a couple Star Leagues. I know he won at least one. But anyway, this is before kind of either of them won a Star League, so they were not considered to be like stars yet, but they were still obviously, you know, very, very good players. And so I'm kind of curious to see how this goes. Jongbi later would be known as one of the 6 Protoss Dragons. There was kind of this age in like 2008-9 that there were 6 Protoss players that were just all really good, and they became known as the 6 Dragons. And Jongbi was one of them, and I mean, probably one of the top couple Protoss players of all time, actually, because I think he actually surpassed most of the Dragons in his general ability. Stork being the only person that had any kind of Stork and Bisu, sorry, being the only ones that could kind of challenge that ranking. But in any case, we have both players just kind of playing normal stuff here. You can see how they're showing the stats on this map. The Terran is favored as far as the games on this map. I think it says 7-12. So of the 19 games on this map, Terrans have won 12 of them in this matchup. So a little bit of a favor for GG, which you know, maybe why that they decided to put for GG on this map. I believe the way it works is they release the maps ahead of time, the map order, and then each team decides who they want to play for that map. Again, blindly, so you don't get to pick, oh, okay, well, I want to have a Protoss go against this Terran that's bad at TVP or whatever, or PVT. And then once they know the lineups, then both teams learn the lineups, and then every player can kind of plan for their own matchup, basically. So this probe is getting a lot of information, running all around this base, surviving a long time. Marines finally hunted down. But in any case, yeah, both really top players. And for GG, didn't have quite the longevity that Jongbi did, but this is a time when he was considered one of the top Terran players as well. So really cool to see how this goes. Pretty normal stuff happening here. Both players have a really good idea of what the other one is doing, so not too... Oh, that's right. So I purposely didn't check the maps for this match because, this is from a time when I was already watching, so I don't know a lot about the older maps that I've been doing, some of the MSL 100 games from like early 2000s. But I started getting into StarCraft in like 2006, so like I said, I know I've seen this series before. I just don't remember how it went. But I'm kind of counting myself to remember the maps and how they work a little bit as I see them. But also it's because in order to look up the maps, I would have had to look up the series, and I wasn't certain that I could do that without spoiling myself. And some of the games, you know, I want to make sure that like I said, I didn't remember exactly how this series went, so I was like, all right, well, it might be just a little bit more exciting for me if I don't know exactly what's happening. But point being, I remember this map now. I'm actually gesturing with my hand right now. I'm not sure why I'm doing that. I remember this map now, and it's a really cool map where there's, as you can see, a ramp leading down kind of out to the rest of the map, but there's actually an expansion in the back. So you have a ramp down to this sub-expansion that's kind of protected, so it makes it really, really, really easy to get a second base. Sorry, pausing to get a little drink of water. Not as young as I used to be. I need to drink water during my broadcast now. All you whippersnappers wouldn't understand. In any case, so it's easy to get a second base. So it's very, very, very common for, especially in a matchup like this, just get 2 bases really quick, and because you've got another ramp that you can hold, right? Usually the problem is with getting a second base is that then the second base is usually on the low ground, right? And it's harder to protect. But in this case, you can get a second base and actually just still protect your main base high ground ramp. And so it's really, really easy to take 2 bases off of minimal defenses. And speaking of minimal defenses, though, we do see that for GG is just now getting his second factory down and his machine shop. He's getting his academy. He's starting to build up his tech now that he's got 2 bases up and running. A little bit fortunate for him that Jongbi isn't pushing with any kind of attack here because he doesn't have a lot of defense. But, you know, the investment of 100 minerals into a bunker to work with those Marines is pretty good. It's pretty cheap in exchange for having a little bit of peace of mind that you're not just going to get broken by, you know, some Zealots and Dragoons running up the ramp. You can pull SCVs and repair and that kind of thing. We do have a shuttle out for Jongbi, and it looks like he's going to be loading Reavers into that shuttle, and that is going to be some fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to that. Jongbi, again, you know, one of the premier Protoss players ever, super, super good, has really immaculate control with things like shuttles and Reavers. Observatory going out as well, and now we actually see him taking... I didn't even realize that. I kept talking about the expansion, how easy it is to take a second base. He isn't taking a second base. He's rushing for a Reaver drop. And, I mean, the second base is in the back, and it's kind of interesting because it does make it a little bit vulnerable. It's harder to get to, but it means that if all your forces are at the front, they're not going to be able to go to the back. So this is actually a pretty interesting strategy. Yeah, he's pushing across the map with his ground units as well. So he's going to be trying to draw... Well, he's not trying to draw back. Ideally, he'd just want that Reaver to just take pot shots and kill stuff in the back. But if he does draw units back to the back with that Reaver drop, he could attack the front theoretically and put some pressure down there. It looks like for Gigi's kind of expecting this. He's got a siege tank set up in his mineral line, just kind of anticipating some kind of drop coming in. And he's actually just going to drop in the front. He's not even going to go in the back. He's just dropping in the front while he attacks that bunker. The bunker's going to go down very quickly. This is a great timing here. The Reaver's going to force everything back. He sieges up in the background there, but there's no turrets, so you could actually just drop Zealots on top. No, the Zealots are all dead, actually, so he's not going to be able to do that. And actually, he's got Goliath in anticipation of this, and a siege tank in the mineral line. So 4GG is pretty prepared, and is able to push this back, loses the bunker, loses the Marines, loses a handful of other units, but in general, does pretty well. I'm sorry I didn't notice that. I was just too busy talking about the map to actually look at it. I was just kind of assuming that he was building an expansion base, but actually Zhongbi was going for this very quick attack with a Reaver and a shuttle. And now he's like, okay, well now 4GG's lost some units. He definitely can't push out right now. He doesn't have the forces to protect his tanks. He can't push out right now. So I'm going to take 2 bases. So now he takes that protected expansion in the back and takes a 3rd base on the left side of the map as well. So very, very smart. You know, I've talked before about the tug of war that is StarCraft. You have to balance between aggression and defense and econ and forces and positioning. And so it's very smart of him to say, okay, well, I've got the advantage. I'm going to use that to get more of a long-term advantage by investing in my economy. And it's also kind of like a necessary thing where he knows he's behind. So if he didn't do that, then he'd be basically saying, okay, well, if I keep going with more attacks and just pushing units, it's basically an all-in. And if he loses another battle, he just loses the game because he don't have the economy to fall back on. So, gonna get a second Reaver loaded up in that shuttle, and could still be some fireworks though. Again, I'm not completely certain why he didn't go for the back base. He could have at least run around once he saw the forces at the front. He could have tried to run around the back and try to, again, just drop that Reaver off in the side and go for some SCVs in the mineral line. But he's still got map control, and we see that, I mean, 4GG, I don't know if he scouted it. He might have comm scanned it or something like that. Comsat scan, but he knew it was coming and was basically pretty prepared for it. And didn't have much trouble fending it off. Well, I shouldn't say he didn't have much trouble, but he had a little bit of trouble. But he was able to fend it off because he was prepared for it. And again, crucially, having that tank like in his mineral line was really, really nice. Now he's got a starport down. He's got... I don't think he has turrets up. Does he have turrets up? I'll have to see if we notice any turrets around, because that is another crucial thing that's going to help him defend against drops. I don't think he's gotten any turrets. I think he went for the Goliaths and said, that's enough anti-air for me. Yeah, that observer's just chilling in there, so that indicates that there's no turrets. And you can see that these side expansions are kind of on raised areas with a very small ramp, so those are pretty defensible as well. But Zhongbi's just going to get all 3 of his bases going really, really strongly. And now it's going to be for Gigi's turn to have to try to use what advantages he has to try and push out and take some more control of the map. We see some minimap being highlighted at the top middle. So it looks like that might be where where 4GG's planning on expanding again to get his 3rd base as he pushes out onto the map here. Vultures are now roaming around, trying to do some damage where they can, but not going to be able to do too much. Zhongbi has observers. Whoa, actually, is he walking right into it? No, his observer's right there. Okay. Yeah, Zhongbi has observers. Those pylons have been put there exactly for this purpose, to stop those vultures from being able to run up. Whoa! Reavers being bold. Gutsy Reavers just dropping out in front of a bunch of tanks. Getting some scarab shots of, and crucially, slowing things down. It's forcing 4GG to siege up, push a little bit forward, siege up, push a little bit forward. He's done some damage. That's cute. He comm scans on his own forces, knowing that there's an observer there, so he can pick it off with the Goliaths. Make sure Zhongbi doesn't have vision of his army, what it's doing. Because that's crucial if you want to know when the Terran is pushing out. And here he goes. Now we see Zhongbi does have 2 shuttles, actually. Not just 1, 2 shuttles. Probably 2 Reavers and a couple other units. does that. I don't think that supply depot sees that. No, he does know this is coming. Oh, the Goliaths are there. Are they going to be able to take out the shuttle? They take out one of the shuttles, but it's too late. The Zealots have dropped out. SCVs are running. They're going to clump up. Is he going to be able to hit them? No, he's not going to get a huge scare off. Maybe he is. Oh, no, they're all in the main. Oh, no. The tank takes out one. He gets one scare off. Oh, is it going to go off? Oh, it does. Oh, my gosh, it does. That was almost huge. He almost lost like 8 SCVs with that one Scarab shot. That would have been really, really horrible. There's the Reaver out again, though. Another Scarab goes out. Oh, no. There's the Reaver shot he was looking for. And now that Reaver is at 1 HP, but it's just chilling in the back here. For Gigi, what are you doing? No! No! Oh, my God. For Gigi. What is he doing? He sent his SCVs back to their deaths. This is terrible. He's sieged up outside of the expansions for Zhongbi though, so it's possible he could do as much damage back if he can pull off this push. Here comes the Dark Templar. There's one mine. Is he going to be able to? Oh, it's not even in position to drag. Is he going to be able to drag the mine in? Oh, the mine does not kill off the Dark Templar. There's an observer there as well, and I don't know if Zhongbi, he does have a comm scanner. There he goes. Oh, finally notices it. But Zhongbi's pushing out now. If he successfully pushes down this ramp. Oh, and he doesn't have vision. He doesn't have vision, so he can't see the Reaver. The Reaver's able to get a free Scarab off. I think that Reaver might die, but it doesn't matter. The tank's coming out. Comm scans have got to be almost out now. This is bad. I think he only has one comsat station, too, actually. Yeah, so he was able to finish off that tank. Looks like they might have killed each other, or maybe that Reaver got loaded up into the shuttle again. But I think that was the one chance that for Gigi had to kind of get back into this, was to push out and do some damage back. He basically had to take out at least an expansion. He at least had to take out the 9 o'clock expansion, and he didn't. And now for Gigi is barely mining, and now he's only got one comset station that's out of energy, and this Dark Templar is just going to go to work on his forces. This is just absolutely terrible. And he's gotten some of his SCVs back up and running, but he's only at like 20 SCVs, 25 SCVs right now, whereas Zhongbi has to have like 50 probes. This is just such a huge differential in economy right now that, I mean, Zhongbi can afford to just throw away Dark Templar trying to do mine drags onto the tanks. Now here we go. This is for GG's. I know I said it was his last chance before, but this probably is his real last chance. He needs to do some damage here with these tanks. He needs to at least accomplish enough map control to take another base, but I think he knows that that's kind of a lost cause. He's given up on taking more bases. Otherwise, we would have seen him built another command center at this point. He's just like, all right, I'm too far behind. I'm never going to win the econ game. I have to just be bold. I have to attack. I have to be aggressive. And I mean, I should have said this at the beginning, but that's actually one of 4GG's signature things too. Is 4GG is known as being a very aggressive Terran player. So not surprising at all to see him just go super hardcore off of 2 bases. Zhongbi has taken his probes away from that dying base and dropped them at the 12 o'clock base, which is an island base. So that's kind of cute. That would have been a good place for Gigi to try and expand theoretically, although obviously Zhongbi has control of the air at this point, and he's just, what is going on? He's just like chilling, just practice. This is just like a micro practice map for him. And for Gigi doesn't even run his SCVs until he's taken 3 Scarab shots, and now, oh no, oh god, another huge Scarab hit. And I'm calling this one. This is over. This is over. He's lost too many SCVs. Too many SCVs. What does he have, like 10 SCVs right now versus Zhongbi's still like 40 probes? He did kill that left side base, but there's I just don't see oh, he even storms those tanks. Nicely done. Oh, only hits 2 of them. Shuttle soaking up hits. Yeah, the shuttle's going to go down, but it doesn't even matter. Now, I mean, we do see 4GG pushing into the natural expansion here. Now, the thing is it's possible he could kill him with this push. It's possible. But I think that Zhongbi is playing this perfectly. He's rallying his units to the corners. Right? He's rallying his units away from the front so that he can build up as many units as possible, knowing that he can build units and 4GG kind of can't, because 4GG's just losing so much economy. Here he goes in now, He's going after the production facilities. The Jangbi has to go in now. That High Templar runs in. Is he going to get a storm off? Defense Matrix goes down, but it's only going to protect that tank for a little bit. And Fort Gigi has been pushed back to the low ground. And remember, this is Brood War. There's a mischance firing uphill, so those tanks are not going to be as effective. They're still going to do splash damage, but it's going to be harder for them to actually accomplish anything. What is the shuttle doing? Going over for a probably going to counterattack with dropping Dark Templar, I imagine. He's got one tank on the high ground now. Is he going to be able to pull this? If he pulls this off, I'm going to be so amazed and so impressed. But it's still, I feel like, even though this looks really bad for Jangbi, I still feel like he could pull this back out again, because there's just this last force necessary. Somehow, for Gigi with no SCVs, this just keeps building units. How does he have an army this big? It's amazing. Oh no, and he loses a shuttle full of units as well. I think it was full of units. Shuttle dropping in the back. This is it. He's going to drop Zealots on top of the tanks so they can't siege up. He's going in, storming on the couple tanks that are sieged up. The Dragoons are going in. He's going to take out one of the tanks. Does he have enough forces for the other? The other's sieging up in the back. He's not going to be able to fend this off. He's not going to fend this off. Is Fort Gigi going to pull this off? This is amazing. This is ridiculous. Fort Gigi has done it. Jangbi GG's. Fort Gigi has done it. What the hell? How do you lose 40 SCVs to Scarabs? How do you lose 40 SCVs to Scarabs and still come back and just through sheer force of aggression and macro and force of will and grit come back and defeat Jangbi, whose base is ahead of you? Absolutely insane. Now we can go back and look at hindsight and say, okay, well, was it too greedy for Jangbi to take 2 bases? I don't. Oh, he's got a soccer ball to kick. Is he gonna kick it in the audience? Hey, souvenir soccer ball for someone. For Gigi, awkwardly kicking the soccer ball and then dancing because he doesn't know how to kick a soccer ball. That was a good kick, actually. Anyway, that's mind blowing. How did he do that? So, I mean, we can go back and think, like, okay, was it too greedy of Jangbi to take 2 bases? I don't think it was, because he had done a significant amount of damage, and what else was he going to do? Take a second base much later and just be behind on economy? I don't think that wins him the game. I think taking the 3rd base is what wins him the game, and he knew that Fort Gigi couldn't push out. I don't know how that happened, though. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing play by Fort Gigi. And so that's going to tie up the series. Samsung Khan's going to be down a game now, or now they lost the game, so it's going to tie it up at 1-1. So we're going to go into game number 3 of this Pro League Finals, and I cannot wait. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Thanks for watching.